Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lowdown on Low Code. As always, thank you so much for joining. We so appreciate you taking time out of your days to listen to what we have to say about low code and digital process automation and all the things that we think about on a daily basis here. I'm Rob Koplowitz. I'm one of your co-hosts today, and I'm here with John Rymer.
Hi there, Rob. Great to be with you, and very excited about this episode. So, as regular listeners are aware, we at Analysis.tech are very keen to either develop or find tools that help buyers navigate their way to the right low-code platform for their needs. This doesn't, as far as we were concerned, we didn't find anything like this. We started to build something ourselves. For some good reasons, we backed off of that. And it just so happened that last month in September, I was at the German Low Code Day in Hanover, and I got reacquainted with my friend Niels de Bruijn. Niels, I hope I pronounced that halfway correctly. Neil, I had met Niels previously, and so I started to talk to Niels about this problem, and he said, "Hey, I have built a tool, and it is available." And I had to look at it and thought, "Boy, this is useful." So we are going to have a conversation today, folks, about Niels' tool and the process behind it, the purpose behind it, and we're really excited about this tool. And very excited, Niels, that you're here to describe it to us. But first, Niels, what we like to do with our guests is find out about their origin story, if you will, their journey to their current position. They're in the field. We've had some really interesting origin stories, welders, now in tech and so forth. So tell us about your journey, Niels. How did you get started in tech?
How did I get started in tech? Okay, that's a long journey, but in the end, after finishing my university, I started off with Oracle in the Netherlands. Worked for 2 years there as a consultant, and did several projects, mostly about Oracle Portal. If you're aware of that product, so long before low code even exists as a word. So that was back in 2001 until 2003. And then after 2003, I decided to move to Germany because I married in 2005 my German wife, and we were already together then. And that's where I started to work for a company called MT, right now rebranded in Hyand. And as for 2004, Oracle Apex was born. Yeah, it was in those days called HTMLDB. A really great product based from Michael Hitra, which is now also vice president of Oracle. And working with that product, I did several internal projects first. Then I took it to the customer, as we are a consultancy firm. So I did in total over the time hundreds of projects with the team. So we have a large team of Apex specialists covering all kinds of projects across all branches, and that worked out very well. So that's basically the journey in short, right? Nice fun fact though is that I met my wife in Cape Town, so we traveled a lot of kilometers to meet each other. But we're very happy living in Germany, and I'm still close to the border of the Netherlands. So some Dutch people joke that I'm right now a German person, but I disagree. So I'm still for the Netherlands when it comes to my heart.
And when it comes to football, I'm sure.
Yeah, football, soccer, right? Still full the Netherlands. So I always wear my orange shirt because that's what they have as a color when doing soccer and football. So yes, I'm all into that.
Great. Let's dive into the tool. Rob, you want to do the next one?
Yeah. So Niels, this is It's interesting because we've actually gone through this evaluation topic a number of times on the
Hmm.
podcast. And really, as far as we've gotten, we've had Merv Adrian, we've had Rick Greenwald, we've had various folks on who've done a ton of waves and MQs. And we've gone as far as to say that those are not good tools for selecting the right technology for your organization's needs. And to John's points, you're building one of the first ones we've seen that is actually designed to help people choose a tool for their particular organizational needs.
Hmm.
Tell us what kind of spurred this with you and tell us a little bit more about the tool.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for asking. So lowcode.hyand.com is the address to go to. So it's free, right? It's a website, and it will give you right now 172 low code platforms to choose from. And yeah, it's a great starting point for getting your long list of low code platforms. Of course, it won't help you through the end, right? By selecting the right platforms you need, because there are a lot of criteria you need to cover. So that where we come in as Hyand to help you out as a consultancy company. But we were also confronted with our customers saying, well, what kind of low-code platform should I use? And for that, in a discussion, we needed to have a long list in place. So let's start off with, let's say, 10 products to choose from. And those 10 products, yeah, need to be picked somehow. Yeah. So that's why I got, really engaged getting this website up and running. And to give them a first guide in selecting that long list of low-code products. And I guess that turned out quite right. So a lot of people are using it, visiting the website, there are various kinds of criteria there. So you can search for a product, but you can also say, okay, I want to have least expensive. I want it to be open source. I want it to be a platform that's originated from Germany or from the States. So different kinds of rough criteria you can choose from to get you into a long list. And of course, in discussion with the customer, we verify that list, and then we really do our detailed analysis, for which we use a different kind of app. Those both apps are based on Oracle Apex, by the way. So you can also do like public websites based on Oracle Apex. Yeah, but that worked out quite right. So it's nice to see that growing, expanding over time. But of course, it takes a lot of time, right, to put this up. So that's why we have not all the criteria in, because if you would like to go really into different kinds of content topics and make selection criteria there, those change, of course, over time, because each platform evolves over time as well. So this is really to get your first impression of the local platforms. And it even includes demo videos, right? So this is something that mostly is not offered. I guess this is the first website that offers this. That without marketing, without sales, you can just deep dive into the IDE and to see how step by step the first app is being created. So this is really helpful if you don't have a clue about the product itself, to get a rough overview of it.
One of the things I loved about it was, I loved about the tool was, you could start with high level criteria, as you said,
Hmm.
you know, country or geography, service by the vendor, relative costs, et cetera, and you got a short list. You then get a short list of vendors that
Correct.
are right, spot on with those criteria. And it sounds like, Niels, the next step then is to engage with that client to say, okay, what are you trying? What are you building? What are the
Correct.
use cases? And then you can take a look at the specific features of the product. But
Yeah.
it's within that short list.
So it really takes some consultancy behind it, because you have like the strategic aspects, you have concrete use cases you would like to implement with local platforms. But also you have like a pricing point of perspective you need to take into account.
Yep.
Also the CI/CD process, all those features that local platforms offer need to be taken into account, and that's why we put up like 70 criteria in total. And with that long list, we're going to do a survey around it. Yeah, so we're going to speak with the vendors, we're going to speak with the customer, different kinds of interviews, and then actually it's like then like a test between, let's say, washing machines, right? You have the plus plus sign and you have the minus minus sign. So you have all those criteria on the left hand, and you have the different kinds of local platforms on the right, on the top, and then you have an overview of the different results. And from there, you can then pick your proof of value phase products. Yeah, you would like to go into. So maybe there are like 2 or 3 left, and with that you do really with their concrete corporate data, you install the product, or maybe it's in the cloud, and then you work with their data on it to see
Mhm.
how it works out. So also you let the developers of the company work with it, and then
Mhm.
you get the final selection. But that result can also be not only one platform, it can also be multiple ones. Yeah. So it can be that we recommend, let's say, Microsoft Power Apps for doing citizen developer work. And we have another product, maybe like Oracle Apex, for enterprise low-code platform work. Yeah. So yeah, you have to differentiate between that. And I guess that this is really important because there are so many platforms out there. We have only 172 listed right now, but it will get expanded over time. And they all call themselves low code. Yeah. So the customer is very much confused. Yeah. What
Right.
kind of product now fits with me? And that's something we can actually help with.
Right. Great.
I love it, Niels, and I think you're kind of getting to the
Thanks.
crux of a lot of our a lot of our frustration. I mean, we're not here to trash waves and MQs. I mean, between John and myself and Rick Greenwald, certainly we were heavily invested in that technology. It's great technology. It's great research. It's the best research that you get to do at these firms. But the starting standpoint of there is a way to compare an entire market and who's best and who's worst without understanding the individual needs of the organization, we think
Yeah.
it is not the way to approach it. Who is the tool designed for, Niels? As we're going to get to a second and try to, in a second, we're going to let people find out how to find the tool. But who should we be looking at? Decision makers, business pros, technical pros? Who is really kind of your audience in designing this tool?
Of course, everybody that has an interest in looking into low code itself and wants to get an overview. Certainly, IT decision makers that are really concrete in an analysis project for selecting their platform. But also, developers might be interested to look at our videos that we've made available, and that will expand also over time, where you can actually see how the IDE looks like. And I guess this is really worthwhile. And one major advantage as well is, especially when it comes to our consultancy work, we do it all anonymously. Yeah. So
Mm.
normally you would then contact directly the vendors, and then you have a lot of salespeople over you time to time. And we'll make sure that that doesn't happen, right? So we can do it anonymously, and I guess that's a major advantage as well, is that we have a direct relationship with the local platform vendor itself. So we know how to talk to, we know the analysts, we know the architects behind it, so we can immediately ask them the question. Because of course, we, as a company, we cannot do implementation work and understand fully 172 products there that are now listed, and I guess there are over 200 or 250 in total. So
Right.
for that, it's really important to get in contact with the platforms and make sure that we get all the questions from the customer answered right away, and that would help them in the selection process.
Right. Do you
Excellent.
get
So go ahead, John.
I'm just curious, do you
Sure.
get people coming in from all over the world, Niels, or is it primarily from Europe? I mean, or do you even track?
Yeah. Okay, so Hyand is basically focused on the German market. So most of the customer requests we had so far were from Germany. Of course, we have also locations like in Romania and Poland and Lithuania and India, but we're mainly focused regarding sales on the German market. That doesn't mean we cannot help somebody abroad, right? So if there's a customer in America saying we need your help, of course, let's discuss this. Of course, the travel expense would be looking a little bit different in that case.
Right.
But we can do a lot of work remote. Yeah, all the consultants here are doing remote work for their customers as well. So it really doesn't matter where you're situated anymore.
Right.
It's more about the quality, how you can help people. And for me, it's very important to have the technical aspects being covered as well. Yeah, so we really go. We have a lot of experience on technical side. So we can really ask the right questions regarding CI/CD, test automation, AI. How does that all look like? And what's important for that customer to find that out and then match it with the corresponding platforms.
Great.
So, quick break here. How do you find us? Lowdown on Low Code is brought to you by analysis.tech. I'll keep it as simple as that. Come find us at analysis.tech. But we're talking about a super cool tool here today. Unfortunately, a podcast is not the best place to demo unless you can really paint a picture with your Niels, with your words. But for folks who want to find out more about it, we'll have links in the posts and things, but tell us how to find the tool.
Yeah, so to find the tool, as mentioned before, lowcode.hyand.com will
Yeah.
be, and you can.
It's
So
HYAND.
yeah, yes, that's very important. Otherwise, you could misunderstand that.
Every time I type it, Niels, I type Highland. And
yeah, so it's not Highland, it's high end. So keep that L out of there and make sure you pronounce it correctly. But I guess we will make a notice of that to this podcast, so you have immediately the address by hand. So go over there. It's free to use. We don't track you or something like that. You don't need to register. It's us sharing our knowledge we have gathered over the time. And if some vendor feels like he's missing on that website, please get in contact with me, and I can do an interview with that vendor to get an overview, and I will list them also if they like. And of course, everybody's free to create a demo video, which I can then also put on YouTube and in the website.
yeah,
So
this
you're looking, yeah.
it's amazing, Rob. It's Niels. It sounds like your process is very similar to the kinds of things we were talking about doing. Niels, are there limitations that people should be aware of? I think you've mentioned that you're not the tool is not gonna allow them to deep dive into, specific feature sets, but are there other sort of things that people should know when they use the tool? And I wonder if you've got sort of ambitions that you'd love to pursue if you had the time and money to expand the tool as well.
Of course, I would like to spend a lot more time, but it's all spare time. Yeah, and that's of course the challenge here. As said, we would like to expand the number of vendors over time. We can also look in adding various kinds of criteria to it as well. But of course, what are the limitations? I guess my advice is don't take this for granted as such that after you've done your selection, that would be my tool. Yeah, and that's it. You still have to do the consultation work if you're really serious into it, but it will give you a rough estimation. So the long list, so to say, of platforms, and that's good. When it comes to features, of course, there are a lot of features you could add, yeah, and do a deep dive there as well. But the platforms evolve over time, so that's really hard, especially when it comes to AI. Yeah, you see a lot of features that have been added over time, and in a very short notice as well. So it's pretty hard to actually put that on that, because that would take me a lot more time to keep that updated, that kind of information, because I want to give the correct information out. Yeah, I
Right.
don't want to mislead somebody. They should have a correct information in there, and that's the most important, and that's the starting point, right?
Right.
So
Right. That
yeah.
makes sense. One other question. It just occurs to me, Niels, that one of the things we've seen over the years, these products are often fairly easy to adopt. And so with a big company, with a big organization, you'll oftentimes find people find those organizations having many low code low code platforms in their
Hmm.
portfolios, and usually there comes a time when, for whatever reason, the company says, we've got to focus. We've got to focus our
Hmm.
skill base, our invest, our, and we just need to prune our portfolio. And it strikes me that your tool might be helpful in starting that process as well. Here are the criteria we've got, high level criteria we've got. Generate a short list, and then compare that to the portfolio, and start to say, hey, maybe
Yeah.
this one over here, maybe this product over here is something we should migrate off of. Have you seen
Yeah.
people do that?
Well, there are companies that actually are consolidating their low code platforms in within the company. That's surely happening. It's all very, I guess, also political
Oh yeah.
driven.
Oh yeah.
That's something. But I guess what is important to do the analysis when you're still on a green field, to do it thoroughly, because we all know that once you're in that low code platform, there is a tight coupling, happening. So you
Mhm.
cannot just say, okay, after 5 years, after building 100 of applications, well, I'm going to take the plug out of there and I don't want to have it anymore. Yeah, you're looking at a large migration project then.
Yep.
There are some local platforms that won't let you export their apps just like that, and then you could import it into a different platform. So
Mhm.
for me, it's very important to do the analysis on Greenfield very thoroughly, very um, thoughtful. Take your time on that, especially when you're looking at a large developer team that is going to implement a large of use cases.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I don't want to feel people trapping into a fall. Let's say I'm going to pick a platform, and then I've seen those cases. After a couple of years, they decide to go away from it because either it was too expensive for them, or they didn't bring the features they were looking for, or from the performance wise, it didn't match. Yeah? So they
Mhm.
had large response times there, so it didn't really fit in. But yes, the consolidation is also there, but it is possible and also a valid option to have multiple low-code platforms in the organization. So you really have to pick the use cases for each low-code platform. I guess that's very important.
Thank you, Rob.
So, Niels, this is a great segue into the next question. Um,
Go ahead.
because I think as organizations are trying to standardize, they're trying to hit a lot of different use cases, right? There's a lot of value in standardizing. I can have training, I can have administration, I can have governance, I can have a lot of common things if I have less platforms. But the platforms do different things, right? So, back when John and I used to do this research at Forrester, I was doing digital process automation. They're all low code platforms, and John was doing, more data centric applications, all of
Mhm.
which we're trying to build in some workflow and things. So when you think about this kind of world where some applications are long running, they're model based, we want to think of them as much more workflow type applications. Others tend to be more data centric. Does your tool kind of help people guide people through those types of selections as well?
Mhm. Yeah, good question. So on the website, we also have a criteria called focus area.
Mhm.
So there you can choose between analytics, application development, backend integration, and process automation. And
Mm.
there are, of course, low-code platforms that comply with all of them. And there are also low-code platforms that comply only with one of them. Yeah, so historically seen, they might be coming from process automation. But over time, they've developed also other features that cover application development as such. But you do see, although they are all low code, you do see huge differences between those areas. Yeah, so there are definitely platforms that are solely focused on analytic stuff, and have nothing to do with application development. So that's something you have to take into account by looking and talking with the customer about their use cases they would like to pursue. And I'm also very into strategic use cases as well, because at first the customer comes at us and says, well, I want to have this kind of application being solved, and for that we need a local platform. But I'm always asking not only these questions for that explicit application, but also in the long run. Yeah. So after 10 years, where do you see yourself? Are you building like 100 apps? Where are those apps being used? Yeah. So it can be that for that concrete situation, we need something in the space of process automation. But in the end, if you look strategically, they are also looking for huge complex applications on the front end with like say forms on them with 200 items, form fields or whatever, or they need extensive reporting, and cover that. So that's stuff you need to find out, and then you can match the corresponding platforms to it. And the website, as said, will help you up front.
You
Okay. John?
you had mentioned citizen development earlier. When in talking about how you might recommend Power Platform for citizen development and a different product like Apex for pro development. Is that also a dimension in the website? No, sort of. Some people call it no code versus low code, or
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is
So we
versus pro dev, something like that.
Yeah. So we have covered like also no code platforms on the website and also low code platforms, but we don't have like a switch saying this is now no code and this is low code. There's also gray area between the two of them. So there are actually no code platforms that also can do stuff like low code.
Mm-hmm.
So it is pretty hard to make that hard distinction between the two. Yeah, for that I can also recommend to actually do consultation work with us or somebody else. But
Right.
that would be really helpful to find it out in more detail. Yeah.
Right.
But yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit during our conversation about your process.
Mhm.
Sounds like you do interview vendors who are represented on the site. Sounds like you
Correct.
talk them through things like pricing and geographic coverage and basic features, I suppose. Could you? And then it sounds like you gather videos. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
And I'm really curious if vendors will provide you with actual information, not just a video, but information that you can trust. Um,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so of course we didn't talk to all 172 vendors out there. Yeah, that's not possible. So we did a lot of research using the internet as well.
okay.
Of course, if we cannot answer a question, that would then be unknown. So that's also valid. Yeah, that's better
Mhm,
than saying the wrong answer.
mhm,
So we try to cope with that to give the real answers. And of course, we go into discussion with a lot of vendors as well, especially offering them to explain the product a little bit more, especially when we're doing it concrete also for customer. Yeah. So if a customer says, I'm looking into some kind of product, let's say MS Power Apps, then we really engage ourselves with that company, in this case Microsoft, and we'll try to find the answers there. But yes, in general, we are very interested to look a lot of on those low-code platforms, and that includes no-code platforms as well,
mhm,
and try to get the big picture, and to match that with our criteria.
mhm.
Yeah, so it's once in a while it's a little bit hard, right, to find that out, but we ask the right questions, and we have a good relationship with those vendors, so it works out quite well. And of course, we offer them to create a demo video as well. But that should then be without marketing, without sales, deep dive directly in the IDE to really show you step by step how you're going to work with that tool. So that's really a huge benefit, I would say. So I would really recommend all the vendors that did not do this yet, get in contact with us and create a video, send it to us, and then we can put that on the website as well. Yeah, because it's really important to show the product what it's really doing. And that's what I found out very much missing on the websites. You look at the website and you see a lot of information, but you don't really get to see the product itself. Yeah, so that was for me very important to really have immediately a deep dive in the product. How does it feel like? How do you interact with the product? What is offered by standard without any programming? Yeah, so
Right.
have a click on demo videos on the website, and there you can see all those videos listed, and then you have an overview there.
Show, don't tell. Rob,
Yes,
over to you.
correct.
Let's leave on one of the big questions. Most of our research, most of our conversations with both vendors and end users at this point are really around integration of AI into these platforms. We're very bullish on low code platforms as a way to well, number one, to build applications more quickly, but to consume these types of external AI services that are becoming increasingly available. Does your tool help people in that regard? How far are you along in sort of helping them figure out a AI enabled low code strategy?
Mm. Well, I guess our website already helps ChatGPT and the likes because they need to build up their model with our research work. So that's a kind of a nice integration.
You know what? I'm going to stop and just say one of the biggest frustrations that we would have in building a tool like this is the publicly available information is almost all vendor generated. And I love these guys, but I wrote a lot of it myself in my vendor days, and it's just not the type of data that you want as source data. What you're doing is so much more valuable as source data. So
thanks.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No. Thanks for that. Yeah. So as we all know, AI is evolving that rapidly. So what I definitely see is that all those no-code and low-code platforms, they all implement AI for developers and also for end users. So they're all fully into it. But if I was to put that on the website, some kind of criteria or stuff like that, even after putting it there, it would be outdated already, right? It just goes so insanely fast, this development in the AI area. So that would take me all of my working time even to get the hang out of that and to keep that updated. So I guess it also here consultancy work is the way to go to really go into it. But there is a real movement going on, and I guess Mike Hitra can also talk a lot about it. I have a good contact with him about Oracle Apex, and we definitely go into an area where low code and AI will embrace each other. And it does not only account for Apex. Yeah, a lot of the local platforms I saw lately are all going into this direction, and even going into vibe coding. We'll see how the future will look like over time. But there's definitely a shift going on. So you get to do more and more with less coding, and that's what low code is all about. And AI is definitely helping there in that area.
Great. John, take us out.
Niels, this has been terrific conversation. Thank you very much. And thank you for the work that you've done on this tool. I was very excited to see it. We've all looked at it here. We've all been on the site and had a look at it. Folks, it's really a useful tool. And if you are looking at adopting the right low code platform for your needs, start at lowcode.hyand, HYAND.com. I think you will be happy you did. It's a really good starting point for selecting product. Folks, thanks for tuning in. If you if you are finding this content useful, hit the like button, hit the share button, tell your friends and neighbors, tell your friends in the low code community. Low down on low code. Just about every week we're out with new conversations that I know I personally find very, very helpful. Thank you again, Niels, and
Yeah.
and
Thanks for having me.
all the best to you as you continue to work that tool.